Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of We Are Legion Live. Tonight, joining us, we have Kyla, Tilley.
Hey, hello.
How's it going there?
It's going good. It's going good. Am I all loud and clear?
All right, yes, loud and clear, and I'm glad to finally find out that it works on Linux as well. We've used Apple products, we've used Windows products, and now we've used Linux, so we're good across the board. Why don't we start out a little bit by you telling everybody about yourself?
All right. Well, my name is Kyla Tilley. I'm a singer-songwriter. I live in Newfoundland, Canada. So I'm on an island out in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean. I write a lot of songs. That's my thing. I play guitar and I write songs. And I've been, since the pandemic started, I've begun writing my songs live on Twitch. So before that, I was a gigging musician and I played shows and I put out a couple albums. But now I come from my living room and I will write about anything. So that's the quick, succinct version.
All right. Well, you didn't have to be so quick. I mean, this is your show, so you can.
Oh yeah.
You can talk.
Elevator. We gotta get people. Tell people as soon as you want.
Talk about yourself as much as you like. Okay. So, what are some of your inspirations for your music?
For my music, well, they're pretty broad. I grew up listening to a lot of British sort of Celtic rock bands like Steel Eye Span and Fairport Convention and Jethro Tull, but I'm also a big metal band as well. Right now I'm kind of focusing on my singer-songwriter thing, but I really like prog rock and metal, so I kind of get, I'm very folky, I'm finger-picking vocals girl with guitar, but sometimes things are in 7/8, and sometimes there's, kind of very much heavier sections, or some of my songs are long and have episodes and periods because I think because of all the prog rock that I listen to, I love Yes and Gentle Giant and bands like that. But then I'm also a huge John Prine fan, so that's been another influence on my writing. Yeah, and the Incredible Story Band.
Leigh Thomas has joined us and says he loves your work.
Yay, I love Leigh's work. Yeah, I met him in an open mic. I've been going to online open mics. It's kind of funny, this one thing shuts down and then this whole world sort of opened up to me. And I've been really managing to meet so many people out there on the interwebs because of these kind of, Zoom open mic things and Twitter even. It's been...
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the open mic because I've been toying with the idea of starting instead of doing just a one-on-one interview, maybe doing a night where we do an open mic night on here, where we get several artists on here and you guys can just jam out. And
right on.
Maybe explore, find some new inspiration. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I've always loved open mics. I loved them in person beforehand. And yeah, it's I like everything. I like to hear what different people are doing. And it's really inspiring to hear.
Yeah. And
so many different writers.
Through the show, so many people have come together and met, and I've done a lot of collabs and stuff together. So I'm really proud of that fact. And we built a really big community on Twitter that works well with one another, and so I'm kind of glad to see how all that's playing out for everybody, and it's worked out better in just over a year than I ever thought it was going to work out. So, and we just keep growing daily, so we'll just keep rolling along playing like that. So you said during the pandemic, not for sure up there in Canada how you guys' lockdown restrictions and stuff have gone. Have they started to loosen up any up there, or?
It's different in different places, I know. So I was living in Montreal and Quebec at the start of the pandemic, and I'm from Newfoundland, and we sort of had this we were watching Newfoundland kind of handling it better maybe than Quebec. and we were in a tiny apartment, and I wasn't allowed to make noise. And me and my husband were kind of like, maybe it's time to go back, which turned out to be a really good decision. Here in Newfoundland, like the restrictions are it's very strict here. Like we had to apply for permission from the Newfoundland government to be able to enter, to move back in the first place. And they very quickly made masks mandatory everywhere. And here they've really kept tight, like we're an island, so they really locked down the borders and made it very difficult to enter, and they monitored everything. So cases here were very, very, very low, but we also have, like, it's a small population. So I think our main hospital has like 30 ICU beds or something like that. So it was really like, we can't let this get out of hand. And people were generally quite good at so we just had another lockdown because someone came in and all of a sudden there were a bunch of cases, but they've gone back down to 0 cases again. But they did, like, as soon as anything gets in, they've been like, okay, close everything, like bars, everything is closed. Whereas in Montreal, they're open a bit more, but there's a curfew there right now. It has been for several months.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that has to do with the size of the population, because there's quite a few more people in Quebec than Newfoundland.
Yeah, like a lot more.
Yeah. So, yeah, and well, how have they done with the vaccine rollout up there?
It's started up here. So here in my province, it's frontline workers are getting vaccinated. I think they're still in stage 1, but it's starting, and it seems to be going well. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I got to be in the first group here in the States because my day job, I'm a government civilian that works with the military, so I'm considered a frontline worker. Yeah, and so I've got both doses of the vaccine, and they're starting to get more people vaccinated and slowly but surely opening things back up. And I hope we can just stay that way. I hope there's not another major spreader event that causes things to shut back down because, quite frankly, I miss live music.
Yeah.
I haven't got to go watch a live show in over a year now, and as a matter of fact, the last place that I saw a live show was in Poland when I was over there for work. So I haven't even seen one in the States and going on 18 months now. So I'm kind of getting a little twitch. Getting a little antsy. I need to get out and about, you know.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
It'll be good to go out and just feel that and get into that environment again and feel that energy from other people, the artists, the crowd, and everything, and just enjoy the shows.
Yeah.
So you said you've been writing an awful lot. Have you been doing like any live streams and stuff other than the open mics?
I've done a couple. So I've been live streaming myself writing the songs. So that's what I've been doing on Twitch for a year. For live shows, I haven't done. I sort of thought at the beginning I'd do a whole bunch, and then I just ended up getting busy with my Twitch show and getting busy with recording. So I haven't. I did one sort of right at the beginning of the pandemic. I did a YouTube live show from my bedroom. And that I was quite surprised. Like, that was before I'd even started on Twitch. So I think that would have been the first time I'd ever live streamed anything. Like, I had never even gone on Instagram live or anything at that point. And I was really surprised because I'm like, my live show, I'm chatty. Like, I'm one of those singer-songwriters that tells you the story, and I'll talk to the audience and get people to say things back to me. So I'm really
I love those shows.
Live connection is like a major part of what I do. And so it was like, okay, how is this going to work online? And obviously it's not the same at all, but I was surprised how quickly, like, people were in the chats and they were saying things to me and they were throwing up emojis. And I was just like, yes, like, I can, like, this is awesome. I can respond to this as I'm doing my show. So this is this works with my show kind of thing. And the only other one, I went to the Folk Alliance International Conference, which I've gone to in real life before they had their event online this year. So I did 4-hour-long shows in that. And it was like, oh yeah, I love performing. I love performing live. So even if I can't do live shows, I'm kind of gearing up to start at least doing more proper live stream concerts. And I think I'm partaking next, not this Saturday coming, but the one after, in like a songwriter circle on someone's Facebook Live event, that kind of thing. But I've been going to Hamilton's open mic every Tuesday and a few other open mics out there.
Okay. So have you felt like you've been able to put more time in and your songwriting has gotten better during the pandemic?
Yeah. And broader. Like I've written a lot of, so I maybe about 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 2018, I went to I'd sort of come to like not writer's block, but I'd sort of stagnated. I was like, I haven't been writing much. I need to do something, because I used to write a lot, and I haven't been happy with anything. And I went to a writing retreat and was introduced to the idea of songwriting prompts. And I sort of started to be like, okay, I'm on a bit of a roll. And then once the pandemic hit, I just started like, okay, I got to get my hands on every prompt and make up my own prompts. And I've got D&D dice, and I roll randomly for chord progressions and notes and stuff. And because of all of this, and because of working with so many prompts, I've written songs that I'm like, I never would have written a song like this before, this. And I'm doing it constantly. So, practice makes progress. And like, I'm definitely really happy with how my songwriting has developed this year.
And definitely getting to spend more time just doing that and listening to other artists and stuff. Since everything's now online, it makes it a little bit easier to kind of draw inspiration from other artists and things, because everybody is putting their content online.
There's content up. And it's funny because I'd sort of become like, so I was living in Montreal, so it's like I went to a lot of live shows as well, and I listened to a lot of music at home, but I think I sort of did a lot of my discovery from live, like the opening bands and that kind of thing. And it almost took me a couple months to be like, oh yeah, playlists. Like people put playlists together, and then you discover like a whole bunch of other music from that.
And I think as a whole, it's been kind of a blessing for the indie community that the pandemic did come along, because it forced everybody into an equal playing field online. And so everybody's content goes out there. So they're getting heard a lot more than they normally would because of the pandemic. Not to say that the pandemic is ever going to be a good thing, but just trying to find some semblance of a silver lining to it. But it did help the indie community out in that way, doing that. Go ahead. You have a thought?
I was just going to agree with you. That's for sure. And like my my online streams have gone up. My Bandcamp sales have gone up. Like the number of countries where it says like people are listening to Kyla Tilley has gone up. And the time I've had to devote, like, last couple of years I've been like, oh, I got to get online. I gotta start doing stuff to reach out to people, but I haven't had time. And now it's like, oh, that's what I got time to do. So like these blessings in disguise, like it's
and definitely keep an eye out on those places, those hotspots where people are starting to listen to you more, because hopefully when things do get open up, it'll give you some idea, hey, we can go do a tour in this area, and you already have a built-in fan base already there that is going to come out and watch your shows. Speaking of which, why don't we go ahead and play one of your songs now? Do you have a preference on which song you would like to start with?
How about starting with The Wave? Speaking of songs that I never would have written a song that sounded like this quite before, I think.
Okay.
That's on Vagaries.
All right, so I got it queued up here, and we'll go ahead and get it playing.
Hits when I'm not looking, takes advantage of my lapse, scoops my body up and slams my insignificant form down to drag along the bottom, dislodging snails and habitations. They're like netting, can't you see? Weed tangles around my face and throat. Choking salt, spitting liquid, I rejected, used, exhausted. Falling like the wooden treasures. Shaped, softened, and displaced by the ocean.
All right. I see all those guitars back there and a few other instruments back there, and you've got quite a collection of shoes as well.
Oh, yeah.
Do you play all those guitars? Can you play?
Yeah, these are all my guitars. So here's my main guitar. It's the one I've had the longest. And I never gig with it because it's kind of fragile, so it's always been for recording. So that's another one of those hidden blessings. Now I play it on TV all the time. Mm-hmm. So that's my classical. And then there's more to them that are here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guitars. This one is pretty neat. This is a custom guitar that a friend of mine built years ago. It's
Really?
a steel string. And I write a lot of, I really like bugs. So I write like lots of songs with like bees and beetles and stuff like that. And so he did all this inlay.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and I think there's a leaf up on the headstock.
Wow, that's very nice.
He did this leaf-shaped sound hole, so it's needs new string. I wanted something that sounded kind of mellow, like not quite as bright as the usual steel strings, and so he it's a mahogany, spruce top and mahogany back and sides, and it definitely makes it a little bit deeper and mellower. Then here, I've got these right here. Just make sure I don't trip in my.
Yeah, please don't.
This is, we'll do this one next. This is my main live guitar.
Oh,
so it's,
wow.
It's on the cover of my latest EP because it's very photogenic, I think, and kind of looks like an axe. But I bought this. It's a classical. It's a nylon string electric classical guitar. So it's got built-in reverb and echo because it obviously has no body. But it's the best thing about it is it comes apart. So it fits into a case that you can put in the overhead compartment of an airplane, which is Yeah, it's super easy to transport. So it's really my main live guitar. And the other one, which I have, there's actually, there's two more electrics here, but they're out of the picture. So here's my Jackson Flying B, which I play. This is for my metal band, but I have done Kyla Tilley shows with this and just plugged it right into the PA and gone through a clean channel and done folk stuff. Sometimes, like I've been, at least once recently, I was on tour with my metal band and I ended up doing a last minute Kyla Tilley gig, and it's like, well, this is the guitar I've got. And I've also, sometimes I'll open for like alternative rock bands or some things like that. So sometimes I'll do my set with an electric instead.
Wow. Okay. So you're actually in a metal band as well.
Yeah.
So why don't you take time right now and go ahead and why don't you go ahead and plug all your social media, and you can also plug your metal band social media if they have it as well. Sure.
Well, I'm at Kyla Tilley on most social media, on all social media that I'm on. So that's Twitter and Instagram are where I'm most active. I'm also on Facebook. It's Kyla Tilley. I've got a YouTube channel. I post a fair bit. Every Monday now I've been posting some of my original songs, just me playing. So that's youtube.com/Kyla Tilley. Twitch, I'm Kyla Tilley on Twitch. I'm there every Wednesday and Friday where I'm writing. I sit down and I share my screen and I start right at the beginning before I've thought anything. So, there's me spitting out ideas, and usually by 2 episodes I've finished a song. I made a list of all of this. I knew this was coming. I'm also on Bandcamp. All my stuff is available on Bandcamp. Bandcamp, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and my official website is kylatilley.com. So if you type KYLATILLEY into something, if I'm there, you should find me. And then Molt, my heavy metal band is called Molt, and that's actually our album cover behind me on the wall.
Okay.
And I'm just going to double check my Instagram handle to make sure I get it right. Molt Band. So that's MOLT BAND on Instagram.
So, have you got to do much work with your metal band since the pandemic started?
No, and we should have, because it's really just me and my husband. But for most of it, we were in our apartment in Montreal. So it's like, well, you can't play heavy metal in your apartment. My neighbors were not happy about.
They don't like music.
They were not happy. They were not happy about the nylon string classical. They really would not have been happy.
Wow.
About the heavy metal.
What kind of uptight neighbors did you have?
we had, in their defense, they were stuck at home too. So.
I would have been crank it up, man. Turn the amp up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. So maybe we can knock down a wall or something to just keep social distance. But I would have been very happy. My neighbors are all old and retired. None of them were playing music and stuff. And I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Let's get some life back into this.
There were some opera singers going through the back alleys of Montreal and singing. And it was beautiful. And I loved that. I don't know if my neighbor was also angry about that. There you go. I thought it was wonderful.
Music makes the world go round, so sometimes you just got to stop and listen to the music and relax a little bit and just enjoy it while it's there, because being locked up at home for now over a year has just been ridiculous. And those brief times where you could get to hear some live music and stuff like that would definitely bring a smile to my face, and I'd be looking forward to them every night. I'd be like knocking on the wall. You gonna be playing tonight?
Today?
Did I miss it? What? Yeah, yeah, that would. I'm sorry you had neighbors like that. I imagine it's much easier now to play since you're in Newfoundland than.
Yeah, and
Um,
we're in a house, and we're sort of surrounded. We're a bit further away from the nearest neighbor, and the nearest neighbor, I'm pretty sure, would be pretty content to hear us playing music.
okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, that would be that's much better than just set up on the porch and just go to town.
Yeah.
And give the neighbors a free concert,
Mm-hmm.
But so you guys really haven't really worked on Molt any.
No, not through this pandemic so far. We're kind of starting to talk about, like, okay, how are we going to get back to doing it now? We're doing some more sound installation so we can actually set up the drum kit. And right now I'm working on a Kyla Tilley album, so that is.
Okay, yeah,
that's been my main thing right now, but that's out soon in the spring. So we're kind of starting to be like, all right, get that taken care of, do the work with that, and then we can start looking again at getting some Molt on the go.
Now, do you sometimes find yourself you're writing stuff for like your album and stuff, but then you get an inspiration for like a Molt song? Do you stop and do that, or?
Oh yeah, I haven't so much, but I will. Like if I get an idea for something else, I get it down. I at least get it down on paper or do a quick. There've actually I lied. There've been a few times where I've come up with a riff idea and I've just been like, okay, that's a good riff. Capture that.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, sometimes those little, you got to take inspiration when inspiration comes, and
absolutely. And it's like it might sit there for a while before we get to work on it, but I capture it.
At least you got the base of it down, and you're like, yes, this is what I was working on, and let's see where this goes later on,
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you have a planned date for when your album is going to come out? It's
going to be out in May, late May. So I haven't. I was going to do May 15th, but I ended up getting sort of some good ideas about art for my first single. So I'm like, okay, I want to hang around on my first single a little longer, and that's coming out on the 26th of this month.
Okay.
So then, probably the last week of May, I'm going to release the full album.
Do you have any pre-orders for your first single out?
I don't have a pre-order up yet. Actually, that's a good idea. I should have put a pre-order up on my Bandcamp.
Definitely.
I might do that this week. And I'm going to release the pre-save at the end of the week. So I've been, so this song, what a fine segue into my new single. This song is a co-write with a very good friend of mine who I used to play in a heavy metal band with many years ago. So we were called, probably we'll end up playing the odd reunion show, but we were called Endearing Perversion. And we sang, like, it was Newfoundland metal. And she wrote all the lyrics and I wrote all the riffs. And she's the lead singer and she's a comedian. Like, she actually is, she does stand up and she's very funny. And so she, like, all of our songs for that band were, like, it was comedy. It was funny songs. And periodically over the years, like every now and then she'll have lyrics for something and she'll just be like, oh, you should put some music to this. And I've actually recorded another one of her songs that she sent me the lyrics and I wrote music for. And anyway, this year we wrote, this is not the single. This is a peek into my songwriting stage, long segues into my songs. When she's also a big John Prine fan, and of course he was taken from us by this horrible pandemic in April or May last year. But when we heard that he was sick and in the hospital with COVID, she wrote. She couldn't sleep and just kind of had this stream of consciousness that she wrote down, and she sent it to me and was just like, I just feel really bad about John Prine, and I wrote these words, like, maybe you can make it a song. And I read the words, and like they were beautiful. So I was like, okay, I'm going to write this song. And it's kind of, it's going to be on the album. So it's good that I'm talking about it. It's called Song Like John. And it's really about kind of just being inspired and doing something without worrying about the consequences. Like, it's just like, just go ahead. If you want to write a song, like, just write a song. That's kind of the message of it. And so this album that I'm putting together, all the songs, like a lot of them, some of them I'd written before the pandemic, but quite a few of them I wrote during. And it was just like, it was all songs about kind of about this, like about accepting yourself and moving forward and just not worrying about other things. And so anyway, I decided I wanted that Song Like John fit that theme, and I wanted to put it on the album. So I called her to say, look, I'd like to record it. Do you mind if I record it? Co-writer, because I'm doing this album, and these are my themes. And, it's all about like giving yourself permission to just be yourself, sort of thing. And she was like, oh, Tilley, I got lyrics for you. And so she had this other set of words that she had written the winter before. She'd had a really, really bad winter. And like bad things happened to her personal life, and like bad things, like external forces that were just very cruel to her. And so she spent the winter just feeling miserable and in her basement, just depressed and feeling bad about herself. And sort of at the end of the winter, she was kind of like, I should have just gone swimming. Like, I should have just gone out on the ice with an axe and chopped a big hole and gone swimming, and everything would have, I should have just tended to me, sort of thing. And so she sent me these words, and I put music to them. They were beautiful words. And so I put music to them, and I was like, okay, this is the first single. Like, this is, this kind of is a good descriptor of the whole album. And we were going to do a video, but of course you can't go film a video. You can't get people out together to do that. So she's an artist. She's a visual artist as well. And so she painted kind of like, we'd sort of be like, okay, well, we're probably not going to do that. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. And then she was like, oh, I'm going to paint some pictures. And so she sent me 22 little paintings. I actually have them right here. That she did. So we've made a lyric video out of them, and I've been posting them on social media all month. So a different photo or a different painting every day. And so this has sort of been my teaser leading up to it. And once I've posted them all, I'm going to open the pre-saves. But there's just some of them.
Definitely make sure I get that link so I can get that out for everybody. And
yeah, I will do that for sure.
And hopefully run up your pre-saves a lot. I like to do that. I always ask everybody when they got some work coming out if they've got a pre-save so we can get that out there.
Yeah, I will send that. I will send that to you.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't. My friend Trissette, who's watching, she said that's a beautiful idea about doing the photos every day.
Yeah. And we're going to do, like, I asked her, I said, oh, maybe you'd like to auction off the paintings when we're done or something. And she was like, maybe I'll sell prints. She said she doesn't want to sell the paintings, but I think we're going to come up with some other sort of creative ways to use her art. Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea to do prints and to sell the prints. Maybe even drop them if people buy the album or whatever, and just do a signed copy of the print to send out with the album, and add a little extra.
Good
Write
idea.
it down. I have my moments. Sometimes
notebook is always nearby.
Sometimes in my ramblings, good ideas come out. You never know.
For sure.
And and I mean, it's always a little something extra to add that little extra incentive for people to go out and buy the album, because I collect signed photos and stuff from artists and things like that that I do, and I try to get them up and post them around here, and I try to promote as much as I can wear the clothes and hats and stuff of the indie bands and things that I work with, just to give that little extra boost to them. You never know who's going to be watching, and they're like, "Wow, I like that hat," and go out and buy one or buy some for gifts or whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. Or discover the artist because they started a conversation with you because you had a cool hat.
Find out. So, wow, I'm going to go check out that artist. And then next thing you know, they're buying merch, and then when they open back up, buying tickets to shows, buying songs, streaming their music and things. So it'll be good to do that. Do you have another song that you want me to play for everybody?
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna maybe why not go with something off Whimsy's? Maybe The Roach's Lament. I'll go with one it's just me and guitar, just voice and guitar. So I think simpler sounds for coming over the
which
over
one?
The interwebs. I think the first. What's the first one on that album? The Roach's Lament.
On Whimsy's, okay.
Whimsy's, yeah. That's the one.
Here we go.
I was about to say that's the one where the pictures in the woods, but like half of them are the pictures in the woods.
Yeah, I just found it. All right. Oh, here we go. This is The Roach's Lament.
My mother told me to be careful, to mind where I'm treading when I leave the nest. You'd be wise to watch where you're going. The route you are keeping could shorten your life. Young roaches are often unmeaning. They think they're immortal, a reckless belief. But you never know, I may be lurking at night in the kitchen, awaiting a meal. Now lately, the way to the pantry had strangely been clearer than ever before. And sadly I let my mind wander, forgot mother's cautions, fell into routine, and I did not see 8 furry legs hiding under the counter until I saw myself reflected 9 times over in her ugly eyes. Her mandibles clicking excitedly, I heard her tummy growling as she gazed hungrily at me. She had me, and I could do nothing, nor could my brothers, who saw it transpire. I thought fondly of moonlight and breadcrumbs, and all of those good things I'll never more see. When a shadow fell over the kitchen, a human had entered. I thought myself safe. Damn humans think I am more filthy than their guns and oppression. They side with the huntsmen and leave me to die. Leave me to die. Well, my species has been here far longer, and we will have lost them. We will live through all their nuclear war. But I shall not see that day, or any other. Alas, the only thing I'll see is the lair of the huntsman, and my poor old mother will know it's the last thing I saw. The before I died.
That's got such good vibes to it. My friend Stacy, she said I could so see myself listening to that while I'm laying on the beach, and I was like, yeah, I mean, I totally pictured myself in a hammock there at the beach,
Cool.
just chilling and listening to that, and
cool. Concerts on the beach.
I'm down, man. Just send me the ticket info.
Distance on the beach. I love the beach.
I'll stand in the water if I got to. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll pull up the lawn chair right down in the water, and I'll sit there and just that's how in dire need I am of a concert. I had a guy on. We had an in-depth discussion the other day about music festivals and whether I thought that we would be back to the same way they were before. And I don't know if we'll ever get back to the exact same way we were before, but I hope to get back to some semblance of that. Because I've had here in Kansas City we get a lot of a mix of all different types of music and stuff, and we have a big rock and roll, or we did have a big rock and roll festival that would start like at 9:00 in the morning and go till midnight every day, and they'd have two stages. They'd have the main stage, and then they'd have the secondary stage. And I found so many bands and stuff, and just listening to artists over there on the second stage. I met Aaron Lewis from Stained at the second stage one year.
Cool.
It's just an incredible experience, and I just really want to get back to something like that. Maybe, I mean, it would draw 150,000 people. Maybe we won't be able to get to 150,000 people again, but just something similar to that, something close to that, and because it's not just the artists that have been hurt so much by the pandemic. It's all the people that go into putting on a show. You got roadies, you got sound people, you got people that do security, people that do hair and makeup for the shows, wardrobe. There's just tons of people that have been out of work for so long.
Promoters, everything. It's a huge undertaking, employing many people.
Yes, and they've been out of work for so long, and I bet you, as much as I want to get out and see a show, they're just that much eager to be out there on the road performing and doing their job. And Stacy says, let's do one in Key West, a concert in Key West.
I'm up for that.
Florida is open. Florida is open, so let's do this. Let's make travel arrangements.
I might not be allowed back into Newfoundland if I go to Florida, but I get a boat. Just stay on the boat.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, there's a lot of that down there in Florida. I mean, you could probably rent a boat for months down there and just hang out on the water. I mean, it's not too bad right now. We're not going to get into hurricane season until probably June, so you're all right. Yeah. Hopefully by June you'll be able to go back up.
Hopefully they'll let me back in.
Yeah.
Florida's actually the last place I went. I was in Florida in January of 2020. I volunteered on the 70,000 tons of metal cruise, so I was
nice.
Sort of working on that cruise, and which is pretty fun.
So who are some of your metal inspirations?
Oh, I like the really I like death metal, and I like really proggy death metal the most. So like Morbid Angel, or like love Morbid Angel, and Necrophagist, and I really like Entombed were a, sort of a big part of my youth. I also like a lot of like I really like Enslaved and Isan from Emperor, like his really proggy solo stuff. So that's sort of I like the black metal that's thrashier, so like the really driving stuff rather than the slow symphonic stuff. I don't know how well versed you are in the subgenres of heavy metal, but
I'm kind of well-rounded in pretty much any genre of music. I mean, I listen to pretty much everything. And this is why I like talking to indie artists, because when I ask them who their inspirations are, they give me other indie artists and stuff like that, and some small, and not just always the big name. And I mean, it's so cliche to throw out, name the top bands and stuff. Okay, well, yeah, they're inspirations to everybody, but tell me who really
the ones that really that
resonate with you. What makes your soul get on fire? And that's what I find most with indie artists is. Of course, you got the mainstream bands, and nothing against them. They put out great music and stuff, but it's really even the mainstream bands. It's their lesser known songs that really light me on fire, and and people always ask me what my favorite song or something is. I'm like, you're going to have to narrow it down to genre, time period, maybe give me an artist or something like that, because I like everything. And then when we get into it, they'll mention a band, and I'll be like, well, what's your favorite song from them? And it's the one that was the most popular on the radio. And I'm like, well, no, man, you're missing out. You need to go past that, listen farther than that into the album, And it's a lot easier to do nowadays than it used to be, because back in my day we had cassette tapes, and you're sitting there listening to the radio for an hour trying to get your song play that you'd called in.
Ready to record,
and you're sitting there holding the play and record button. So when it comes on,
if you're too late, you cut off the start.
You always miss the first couple chords of the song, and you're like, but that's all right. It was better than nothing. And now you can just pull any song up anytime you want, push play or download it and buy it. And so they definitely have a distinct advantage of it. I don't know why everybody thinks they're so oppressed nowadays. It's so much easier to do stuff nowadays. So I thank you for coming out. Before we go again, let me go ahead and let you shout out your social media and stuff again.
Sure. It's at Kyla Tilley, all one word. And I'll spell it out loud, KYLATILLEY. And I'm Kyla Tilley on Twitter, Instagram, Bandcamp, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. And I'm KylaTilley.com is my website that has all of those links there as well.
Okay, now do you have merch on your website, or is that just on your Bandcamp?
It's all, I'm using Bandcamp as my sale point right now.
Okay,
and so all of my merch is CDs. Yeah, and I have physical CDs of New Shoes, which is my first full length. And I am planning to do physical CDs of my new album, because I'm assuming I'm going to get to play live in the somewhat near future. So I know it's been, a lot of people are like, to print or not to print, but I'm like, you know what? When I play live, I sell them. So
I'm
going to print them.
Couple low cost ideas for your merch site. As you can see, you could do photos. They don't have to be photo quality. They can just be printed out on regular printer paper. Right. You do a regular photo for like $5 and a signed one for 10. Also, an idea that I got from another podcaster that I did a show with over in England is people were doing signed copies of their lyric sheets.
Oh yeah, well,
and putting those on.
And I'm planning to do some song books too, and like single song sheet music as well. And maybe I'll sign them.
Yeah, right on. Well, just let us know, and we'll definitely help you out there.
Awesome.
Don't forget to drop me that link for your pre-save, and I'll get that blasted out to everybody. On hopefully, I'll get it done on at least Twitter and Instagram. And let's and thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciated you being here and had a great conversation. You're more than welcome to come back anytime. Matter of fact, schedule us again right before your album drops, so we can kind of go there, and maybe you can go into a little bit more detail on the album and how that's going to go, and we'll drive up some buzz to see if we can't get some more album sales out there for you.
Well, that'd be great. I'm 100% up for that. This has been lovely.
Well, like I said, you know how to get a hold of me. You can DM me anytime if you got any ideas to help with my show, or if you just want ideas to help with merch or anything like that. Please DM me and let me know, and we'll work with you. There's tons of people out there. If I don't know the answer, I bet you I can find someone who does. So, yes. Anything you would like to say to the audience before we leave?
Maybe if you've ever been curious about the songwriting process, one of these afternoons, I like to chat away to people as I'm writing, and I could always. It's always the more people that show up and say things, the more fun I have. So that's just kind of a selfish thing that I want.
You kind of cut out a little bit there. That's on your Twitch, correct?
That's my Twitch, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so follow her on Twitch, and maybe you can help inspire her and give her a little bit of insight into
shout words
in the song.
Sometimes I'm like, what's a word for this?
And if you fancy yourself a songwriter, maybe you can help her out and get some of your lyrics in a song, you know. But again, thank you so very much for coming out, and you have a good evening, and we will talk to you later.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me. Have a great night.
You too. Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you again for coming out tonight. We do have another show tomorrow night. Let me see. I don't want to tell you who wrong, but it is at 8:30 tomorrow night with... Be easier if I looked in the right spot. It looks like we have a show tomorrow night, 8:30 Central Time, with Derek. This show's been rescheduled a couple times. He got scheduled some gigs that were out, and he just wanted a better time frame to do it, so we got it scheduled for tomorrow night. And hopefully you all can come out and join. Please hit the like button on your way out, and if you haven't done it already, please hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notifications, because I kind of work around artists' schedule, so whenever they're free to do a show, that's when I do a show, and that way you don't have to depend on seeing the advertisement on Twitter or something like that. It'll just let you know when we're going live. But again, everybody have a great evening, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Y'all have a good night.